want money and you want success, or you want to travel, or you want to be around good people, or you want to be around good music, like you can't expect it to just like come to you. Like, you've got to go out and go get into those situations you want to be in. I don't know what I'm doing. And that fear, plus like the hunger of like wanting to, I wasn't okay with them thinking that, right?
Yeah.
It was like, before they realize that I don't know what I'm doing, I'm going to figure out what I'm doing. Is this the best decision for my family? Is this the best decision for me? Am I really all these things that I think that I am, you know? And so like, that's totally normal.
So I had a sales guy that just started here working for me. And I told him, I said, you want to know what the most important part of the sales process is? I said, it's not the opening, not the fact, find, qualify. It's not your presentation, it's not the close, it's the fulfillment part, right? Like the customer experience is the most important part. But what I'm starting to realize about the best brands is like they have predictability. They're like very consistent in the message. It's just maybe put in a different format.
Remember to operate as the brand that you want to be, not as the brand that you are.
Branding's a long game.
Yep, it's a very, very long game.
What do you think is the most important skill for anybody to have? All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Sales Leadership Podcast. Today, I got my boy right here, Dalin Bernard. He works with Social Hustle. It's a company that he just sold, and this dude's a beast. When I tell you, like, you know, I've just been sitting here chatting with him for 15, 20 minutes, and just the gems I've already got from him about leadership, the stories he's told me about taking care of his people, growing his company. This guy's a wealth of knowledge in the space of like sales, leadership, marketing, speaking. So we're going to crack into it. He's local in Arizona, so I asked him to come down here and shoot a podcast. Thanks for coming on, my guy.
Of course, man.
Hell yeah,
Thanks
dude.
for having me.
Can't wait to, get it going. So first of all, man, I've known you for a little bit. One thing I'll say about you is like, you're very relational, you know? Like hearing a couple stories you just told me, right, about your employee. Like that was a cool story. We'll get into that. But, you know, just for the entire time I've known you, man, you've been like, you don't feel transactional. You're a very like free-flowing dude. And I can tell for all your clients, like one of the reasons I'm sure your company's been successful is because you're easy to do business with probably. Like you're just a smooth communicator and you got good intentions. But tell me about like, you know, your background story, like where you come from and like what just happened recently in your life? Like what's your life like today versus where you came from?
Yeah, so there's two parts to that question. I'll start with the first of where I came from. I grew up in Idaho. I grew up on a farm in Idaho at a high school rodeo. I was as country as they get. We had racehorses, goats, chickens, cows. So I had the farm life growing up. Mm-hmm. And I think being like so far in the deep end on the farm life and like taking care of like the ranch, that I was like, man, I don't want to do this. You know, I was like, I want to channel, if I'm going to work this hard and I'm going to put in this many hours a day, you know, I was a bit selfish, I think, like what most young people are. And I was like, I want to put that time into myself. Yep. And so I realized quickly that like the ranch life, the country life, like I wanted to get into the city. I've always been an entrepreneur. I was that kid, like I got suspended in 8th grade for selling, downloaded music and burning it onto CDs and selling it to people.
I thought you were going to say, plants, because that's what I did.
No way. No. It was entrepreneur in every sense of the fashion. Yeah. I'll just say, but like very early on, I've always been an entrepreneur. I wanted to get into the city. I wanted to I always thought that if you really want, you got to get around the things that you want.
Yeah.
And so like if you want a yacht in Miami, then like you can't be hanging out in Chicago. Yeah. You got to go to Miami, even if you can't afford a yacht.
Exactly.
If you want money and you want success, or you want to travel, or you want to be around good people, or you want to be around good music, like you can't expect it to just like come to you. Like you've got to go out and go get into those situations you want to be in. So right after high school, very shortly after high school, I sold literally everything that I had, moved to San Francisco, like no money, lived in a hotel room for a couple months. Ended up getting a job for a company where I was like sharing an apartment with like 8 other dudes, sleeping like 3 dudes from an apartment. And like, I knew always that I wanted to have my own business, but I knew that I didn't have the skill set to be able to have my own business. Like,
question for you. Like you said, you graduated high school, you didn't go to college?
No, I went to college for like 6 weeks probably.
Really?
Yeah. And I was just like, this is just not.
Ain't it?
It just ain't it, like I felt like it was slowing me down. You know, I didn't feel like I there was nothing to learn. So I'll say that. Like I feel like
Yeah.
there's a big misconception with people that are, talk poorly on college, or that it's not
Yeah.
the best decision. There's a ton of education to get in business.
Yeah.
I just felt that I could get education and be paid at the same time,
Totally.
rather than pay to get education.
Totally.
So,
yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I think like a lot of people, crap on college, but in reality, like for certain professions, like dude, to each their own, man. A lot of
Yeah.
people have their own path. I was the same way as you. Like literally, I was 2 months into playing college basketball, and I was like, this ain't it, dude. High school was hard enough for me.
I think that if you know for sure what you want to do,
Yeah.
and it requires college, then it's a no-brainer. Go to college.
Yeah.
If you don't know what you want to do,
Yeah.
don't go pay to be in a
Literally.
constrained environment
Yeah.
where you're limited on the experiences that you can have to
Yeah.
try and find out what you want to do.
Couldn't agree more, bro.
Go make $7 an hour in another country somewhere. Go, I even told my brother, I have a brother that's 11 years younger than me. I told him, like, go get a job as an English-speaking tour guide in Europe somewhere for a summer.
That's smart, dude, because you travel a lot, bro.
Yeah, I'm like, just go get some experiences. Go
Yeah.
meet some people that have like absolutely nothing in common with you. See what you like about it. See what they do. Find, just experience some shit. And like, not only you can get paid, even if it's a small amount,
Yeah.
but you're actually gonna get way more experiences and like exposure into all of these new things than you ever would going to college.
What do you think is the most important skill for anybody to have?
The most important skill is to have emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
The most important skill is to be able to read the emotions of the people that you're with and their feelings and their opinions on things before they have to come out and tell you what their emotions are.
Love that, dude.
And most people will get, if you always find yourself in arguments and always find yourself, batting heads with other people and in this combatant energy, it's because you don't have any emotional intelligence and you're not seeing the signs before they come. And so that helps in sales, that helps in relationship building, that helps in creating a team around you, that helps in getting people to like be on your side and want to like Andy Elliott, right? Like
totally, bro.
That guy
and
can
self-awareness.
He can build a fucking team, and it's because he understands people and he can relate to you and he can show empathy towards what you're at and he understands where you're coming from and listens to you rather than what most people see of him just like yelling and screaming and motivating people online.
Dude.
In order to build a team, in order to be successful, you have to have emotional intelligence. That normally comes from being in extremely uncomfortable situations.
Couldn't agree more. If by the way, shout out to Brad Lee, Mr. Bradley dropping bombs. If I had a dropping bombs button right here, I'd freaking smash it right now. I'd be like, dude, that's a fucking bomb.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I wanted to ask you that because, like there's skills you learn in college, and then there's skills you learn from like being, dealing with people, right? Jumping right into the working world. So
I feel like
cool.
you see now some of the best business people are people that have gone through like incredible difficulties during their life, whether it being, homeless for a long time or in jail for a long time or multiple failed companies. It's like, the easiest road to the top normally won't actually really get you there because if it's so easy, you're not going to actually develop the skills to like finish it at the very, very end.
Could not agree with you more.
And
bro.
so I like literally if you're going through some shit, just look at it as like you're getting free college. Like if you're going through issues,
free college.
You're going through issues, you're going through trouble, you got problems at work, you got problems you've never dealt with before, like you're getting some free college and that means you're like going somewhere you've never been.
And they say pain is the greatest teacher.
It really is.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But that's funny because I literally made a video yesterday and I said, if you always felt bad for standing out, like being different, if you weren't the cool person in the crowds growing up and stuff like that, you're probably more likely to succeed when you grow up.
I agree with that.
Because I've noticed that trend, like I noticed that the people who tend to be like, in high school or, grade school tend to be the cool people. They follow the crowd. They care so much about what other people think that they kind of just do whatever anybody else expects them to do.
Yeah.
Whereas if you were always counted out and you were like just kind of the outsider, you don't care. So you're willing to go make yourself
you have nothing to lose
for 5 to 10 years to go become really successful later on, right?
Yep. Yeah, you have nothing to lose. You've been that person already. You'll be in that same position whether you win or lose.
Totally, dude. So pick it up for me. So you said left high school and then you moved to
I moved to San Francisco. Was really tough for like 2 years. Like I knew that I didn't want to live at home. I was definitely not making enough money to like live in San Francisco. And eventually through honestly just going out, meeting people, trying to meet the right people, trying to always like put my best foot forward. I met this individual named Kent who now is like has been a lifelong mentor for me and gave
Love
me a
that.
shot at this software company. I had gotten just out of high school, gotten a job doing digital marketing sales in Idaho, and like hated that job. Like did not like the people that I worked with, did not like how the company operated, but got some digital marketing experience. Met this guy named Kent in the Bay Area, and like literally in order to even apply for this position, you had to have 2 years college experience or the
Wow,
equivalent
dude.
in the workspace, and I didn't have that. So,
Where did you meet him at?
so I met this guy through sales activity is probably the best way to say it. So like, and I bring that up because it wasn't luck. It wasn't like somebody dropped a can of beans, I picked it up for him. His name's Kent. He wants to offer me a job, right?
Yeah.
Like I was trying to find people that I could do marketing for. I was calling people constantly.
Oh shit! So
right?
even when you moved to San Francisco, you were.
Yep,
you always wanted to
I had
do
a very small, marketing agency. My dream still is to like work for myself, and so I'm like I'm in that sales activity. I'm like calling people that I think could be interested in digital marketing. I am trying to get introduced into other business owners. I'm like doing everything I can that I can control to put myself into the situation to get introduced to someone like this.
And how old were you at that time?
20.
And what year was that?
This was 2011, 2012.
Dude, you might have started that trend, bro.
Maybe.
You know all those videos of people who record themselves cold calling?
Yeah.
Hey, I will tell you this is a cold call before I do anything else. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Bro, I picture that, and I picture you in 2011 freaking.
I would be right in the passenger seat of someone's car, and if like a landscape truck drove by with a logo and a phone number on it, I was calling them.
Dude, that's...
Okay, you guys just passed me. What are you doing? You got a website? What are you doing for digital marketing? What are you doing for social media?
It's called being hungry, bro.
Yeah, like literally hungry. literally like...
Can of beans.
I got no shot but to get one of these people to give me a fucking chance.
I love that shit, dude.
So ended up getting interviewed and landing this job in San Francisco, in-house digital marketing manager. It was my role to manage the ad spend and the marketing strategies that the software company had. This is a 300-person software company
Love it.
the clients are like Sony, Beats by Dre, DirecTV, Sonos, like biggest brands in the world use this software to help manage the development of their products of their company.
Yeah.
So literally thrown in the deep end. I'll never forget my first day of work there where I was like, I don't know what the fuck is going on around here. Like literally like scared out of my mind that like
to make a mistake.
To be found out, that like I wasn't qualified to be there and everyone around me had college degrees and like these sooner or later these guys are going to figure out that like I'm not really qualified to be here. I don't know what I'm doing. And that fear plus like the hunger of like wanting to, I wasn't okay with them thinking that, right? It was like before they realize that I don't know what I'm doing, I'm going to figure out what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And so I feel sad for myself, not a, let's see how long it can last. It was a very competitive, like, okay, like I just got a shot.
Yeah.
I don't fuck this up. Like I just got a shot and like don't fuck this up. Yeah. And that I would say like I grew more in the next 2 years than anybody grew in 2 years.
Fucking love it, bro.
Like I'll stand by that. I grew up on a farm in Idaho with no college experience. I got thrown into this digital marketing position in the Silicon Valley. We were like 2 miles away from Facebook in 2013, 2014, 2015. So like the best of the best in the world as it comes to marketing and software as a service and these companies. And I was like, this is I just got drafted,
It's one thing to get the opportunity and it's another thing to like realize you have it and like make it freaking work.
Yeah. And like it's intimidating. Like I feel like maybe an important like fact that everyone needs to know is like there's no one who does not get scared and intimidated and questions themselves along the way. Like if you think all these guys, we were just talking about Andy included, like there's no way along his path that he is not like, is this the best decision for my family? Is this the best decision for me? Am I really all these things that I think that I am, And so like that's totally normal time.
Dude, I was telling somebody this last week that like, there was things in my life that happened that I believe God played a role and like put the right person in the right place at the right time for me.
Yeah.
But also is because I worked for it.
You had to be prepared for that.
Yeah, like I kind of just like smoothly transitioned into working for Andy. And it happened because I was such a great student. I was coming to every event. I was staying in contact, like it's just like you have a you have your will,
Yeah.
and that plays a role in your success. You
Yeah.
know?
I feel like
It can fall
everyone
in your
gets,
lap.
I feel like everyone gets presented opportunities.
Yeah,
And the
exactly.
successful people were just ready for those opportunities.
Yeah, you know, I heard a quote from Robert Kiyosaki. He said, "Oftentimes in life, it's not the smart that get ahead, but the bold."
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. They're like the delusional people.
exactly.
Yeah.
You
The
know?
delusional people. So back to, so I'm working at Arena. I worked there for a few years and got my college degree. Like
Yeah.
that was my college experience, was working at this massive company for a few years, and came across Chris, my business partner. This was like 2014. He's like the smartest guy I've met to this day. Like, is able to take incredibly complex things as it when it relates to the marketing world, and the numbers and like the financials of marketing, and how to actually build a business and communicate those to people, help them understand, apply it to like real world things. There's people that are incredibly smart, but they can't communicate that to anyone. They can't communicate themselves, and it does themselves a disservice. You might as well not be as smart and be able to communicate yourself better.
Exactly. Couldn't agree more.
But Chris is amazing at like truly understanding stuff, being able to explain it to people, and I'm like, I want you to be my business partner. That was 2014. 3 years later, we both quit our jobs. You know, I was still working at that software company, making 6 figures a year, very healthy 6-figure a year salary, bonus, benefits, working from home. My mom told me I was crazy when I told her I was going to quit my job, you know. To her, she's like, she sees on my social media, I'm just traveling and posting all the time and living, you know, the beautiful world, which is all anyone ever posted on Instagram in 2015 anyways. And she's like, what are you doing? You know, why would you quit this? And it was just like I had plateaued. You know, we had built Social Hustle to the point where we literally could not take on any more clients because Chris and I didn't have any more time in the day. We're working 20 hours a day for our full-time job and for Social Hustle, and we can't grow anymore at Social Hustle, and I can't do any more for the company that I work for because I'm doing as much as I possibly can.
So you were killing it with marketing at the company you worked at, and then you started taking on clients for marketing on the side.
Yep. So I was an in-house employee for the software company running their marketing, right? So I'm in charge of managing the team that's doing their Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram, TikTok. Like TikTok wasn't even alive at that point in time. The website, all of the things that relate to the marketing for this software company, I'm managing. And then I started an agency on the side, Social Hustle, with Chris, and that's where we do marketing for many different businesses. So not like there's no conflict of interest or anything, right? Like I'm a marketing person for this company and then doing this agency on the side. And it really just got to the point where I'm like, I can no longer provide my paying clients of Social Hustle what they deserve unless I quit my full-time job and do this. And like I said, my mom was like, I'll never forget. I'm like, I'm going to prove you wrong. Like, but I love my mom. Like, she supports me. She just wants the best for me. But it was a moment where she was just like, why would you leave this amazing situation that you have? And it was just because like I wanted more. Like, I want more than this. I want to build my company. That's always been my dream. And I can't do that unless I make this decision. Her telling me not to do it motivated me anymore. I'm like, I'm for sure doing it. Right now I'm still even picturing it. When I was living in Austin, Texas at the time, I was in a parking garage right outside the company about to go in and quit. And she was like, you know, don't do it. That was 2018.
You were like, thank you for that.
Yeah, I haven't told her yet.
Thanks, Mama.
So fast forward, I mean, 7 years later to today, 8 years later, and we just got acquired by a software company. Chris, my business partner, and I just made an 8-figure exit.
That's awesome.
We still are, you know, working, have more money that we can make through Social Hustle. We now work for the company that we started, same roles.
That's dope.
We were able to partner with a company that does something completely different than we do. So all of our employees are still there. The benefits are getting better. Literally, like, we've reached, finally, I was just telling you, like, we're finally, like, it's been verified, you know, all of the like things that we've done to like actually get acquired and make an exit, and like the weight that is coming off my chest from that was the most amazing feeling.
It's fucking big shit, bro. Trust me, I ain't done with you, but fuck, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's a good story. So I would say your greatest skill is marketing. That's like kind of your genius, right?
For myself, my greatest skill is probably assembling a team to believe in the same vision and work together. I wouldn't say that I'm the expert marketer. I understand marketing very well. To be emotionally intelligent, you understand how people perceive things, you understand what people like, what they dislike. But I don't take an active role in the marketing campaigns for our clients. Those are people that we have recruited, and like, you know, I in the last 2 years of Social Hustle was like the 6th highest paid employee at Social Hustle. you know, and Chris wasn't in the top 5 either. It was people that we have found that are amazing at what they do.
Salespeople or like delivery?
For us, so my role has always been sales. What we have spent the most in outside of that is like the actual technicians that are inside of these accounts making changes.
Got it.
Because the way for us truly to make the most amount of money is to scale businesses. We make a percentage. Yep, we make percentage of their ad spend. The company will come to us and say, well, hey, we have to have X amount of return on investment. And as long as we're doing that, we can continue to spend more and more and more inside these platforms. And so we have taken brands from spending $5,000 a month on Google Ads to $1 million a month on Google Ads.
That's crazy, dude.
We've taken companies from $10,000 a month in revenue to $20,000 a month in revenue, quite literally over the course of 7 years.
And that feels good, bro.
It's the best feeling in the world.
Best feeling in the world. And you work with some big ass brands too, because I remember when we went golfing, you told me a couple brands, and I was like, "Damn, dude!" Like,
yeah, like
you got me on a funnel one time. I think I ordered some shit.
Brands that most people like, your everyday brands. You know, like we have jewelry brands. The jewelry client that we've had for the last 8 years, GLD. They're like the official pendant of the NBA, the NFL, Disney.
That was it.
Yep.
Yeah,
if
when
you
told
want a
GLD, I was like, dude.
If you want a Los Angeles Lakers pendant or a New York Yankees pendant, you get it from GLD. We've chains, and we've done influencer and creator sourcing from like Justin Bieber to Drake to Kylie Jenner to like, I mean, like, you name it. We've done a chain for them. We've done a product for them.
I love it.
We have clients partnered with the Olympics. We have clients that have been acquired by Red Bull. Like, you know, Heath, who's out here, the trucking company. Heath, Ultimate Blue Collar. We started marketing for Heath when he had 3 trucks.
Wow.
And he sold with like 250 trucks to high 8 figures to Red Bull.
That's insane, dude.
So like those, we've gotten now to the end of the story of like, these used to be companies that came to us with like a hope and a dream and a prayer. And like GLD, we started on a commission-based agreement. They didn't even have money for a marketing agency.
Wow.
And now we're, you know, Social Hustle brings in 6 figures a month just off of GLD's retainer.
That's insane.
So like, I mean, it's literally crazy to sit here and say, because like, I knew this was going to happen. This is how I pictured things 10 years ago.
That's it.
And now to have them actually, like a lot of these brands, make an exit, like when Heath made his exit to Red Bull, it was
that's
just
gotta
like,
be crazy.
Yeah, you've like, you know, we didn't get paid we didn't get like any money off of the sale or anything, right? But you'd take a piece of the win, you know, when like,
but dude, you're taking care of people, bro.
Yeah, when somebody comes to you, and I'm sure you feel the same way with like, you know, with the clients and stuff that you work with, when somebody comes to you and they're like, here's my vision. Here's where I want my business to be. Here's where I want my life to be. I like asking people like, so do you want to, a lot of business owners are in the business. Like, so do you have a passion around continuing to build your business, or do you have a passion around maybe stepping back and like coaching your son's t-ball team or what, you know, whatever it may be for you, and them saying what that is, and then now being in business long enough that like, now Ryan from Coach Mobile Repair in Sacramento literally is coaching his son's t-ball team.
Always wanted to do.
He's got 3 other guys that run his service trucks, and like we literally helped him. He laid out a vision, and we got to where it is. Like, no amount of money, almost no amount of money could replace, you know, just like helping people and get to that point.
Totally. And when you do that, the money
comes.
Easy.
It's a byproduct. It's a byproduct that, you know, it's very easy to say like no amount of money, but in reality, I know that if Ryan got to that point, our clients got to that point, that means that we were taken care of. Yeah.
So I had a sales guy that just started here working for me, and I told him, I said, you want to know what the most important part of the sales process is? I said, it's not the opening, not the fact, find, qualify. It's not your presentation. It's not the close. It's the fulfillment part, right? Because if you work in a space like you do, or in a space like we do, anything that's agency related, coaching, anything like that, consulting, you name it, there's plenty of other industries out there. Like the customer experience is the most important part. The customer service is like, hey, we're gonna run your ads. But customer experience, like, how do I feel throughout the whole time? Like, how's the customer experience? You know, so that's huge, dude.
We say there's like 2 ways in our industry to run a digital marketing agency. There is volume, which means you're like selling a ton. You always got new clients coming in, but like you also are not investing much on the fulfillment of everything. And so you have a lot of clients going out. And you're playing this game of like, I'm trying to sell 10 clients a month so that if I only lose 7, I'm gaining 3 new clients a month, and eventually, you know, I'm way on top. And our strategy has always been work with a smaller number of clients that we can keep and grow. And that has paid dividends like time and time and time again, because we will, for most of our clients, when they come on to us, Social Hustle has not made money unless they stay with us 3, 4, 5 months. And even at that point, we're starting to make a little bit of money. Where we make money is a client like GLD who started with us 8 years ago. Dude, also, we have month-to-month contracts. None of our clients are any sort of contract. If we're not bringing you more money than what costs us, then you can fire us. So GLD for 8 years has been on a month-to-month contract, could leave at any moment in time if things weren't going well.
You're doing things totally different than most marketing companies.
100%. Most sign a 6-month contract at least, a year contract. But it's our theory that if like after 3 or 4 months, if you don't want to work with us, you don't like us, we're not bringing you results, then like we don't want to keep you here. You know, like if you're not happy with the way this house is, the rules of this house, then like you can move out. You know, like we're not gonna
run it the same way.
We're not gonna keep you here. Yeah, you've talked about it before. Like if it gets to this point where you don't want to work with us, it seems like why would I want to keep this person in this toxic relationship that doesn't like us? It's not working. They're just gonna go out on the streets and talk shit about us. And
it'll cost you more.
It'll cost us way more.
Yeah.
And so the overinvestment that we have put into taking care of people to make sure that we keep clients for 4 years, not 4 months, would be what I would say is probably the single best thing for like our revenue, profitability, EBITDA, is that now I've got clients that I had a customer acquisition cost 6 years ago to get them as a client, and they've continued to pay $2,500 a month for 6 years and are happy and love us.
It's insane.
And
on one hand, you got like, there's multiple reasons that business strategy works really well, right? Number one, you got LTV.
Yep.
Lifetime value. Like I heard Andy Frisella say when we were at his place, he's like, when I think of business, I think, what's the 10-year customer value going to be with this client? That's how we make every decision, right? 10 years, how much are they going to spend? If you think about that, you're going to make decisions a lot different.
Oh, yeah.
But then also, like, when it comes to relationships, bro, like, you know, you taking care of people and losing a client here and there, but making it peaceful and like, hey, like, you know, no contract, whatever.
Yep.
But then always fulfilling on your word. Like, as your relationships stack, dude, the opportunities.
We've gotten referrals
ridiculous.
from people who have canceled.
Yeah.
We've gotten referrals from people that said, hey, this isn't working. And we were like, we agree. This isn't working. You paid us to help generate all these leads, and maybe we are generating all the leads, but they're not turning into business for you. But hey, we can all see the same numbers here. And like with the amount of money you're paying and investing in this program, it's not healthy for your business. And so we agree, let's cut ties. Normally we try and be proactive and bring that up. This does not look like it's going well for you. Are you seeing the same thing on your side? And okay, sweet, let's shake hands, have a beer, and not do business anymore because we tried this, it didn't work. And then that same person, 6 months later, hey, I got a friend, this is what he does, I think it's perfect for what you guys do. I really appreciate how honest and transparent you guys were with everything. I feel like the real successful business owners and people that like are really going to make it understand that there are highs and lows.
Yeah.
And if you understand that, and then when you're in a low, that person that you're doing business with is like, hey, we're in a low. I know you see it, I see it. Is there any way out of this? Should we just stop doing what we're doing? Like, what do you think is best? That creates a bond of trust that is just like unbreakable. And especially as an agency, when it is not in our best interest to say, hey, this doesn't look like it's going well, right? When we have nothing to gain, when you know, to anyone listening to this, when you have nothing to gain and you can show someone that you're watching out for them, that's when they will come back to you in a year or refer their friend or whatever the case is, because they're like, just because it didn't work with what we were doing does not mean that Social Hustle is not a good digital marketing agency. I love those guys over there, super honest with me. Brendan was super honest with me when he told me, hey, like, you guys aren't using the platform. Are you sure you want to even be spending your money on this? Because nobody's using this and you're paying for it. Thank you for bringing that to my attention, Brendan. Let me go talk to my guys and tell them to like get on top of this. Versus if they find out the guys aren't using it and nobody said anything and they just feel like they're getting took.
Literally.
That guy leaves. That guy lives a 2-star review. That guy talks shit for the next 2 years about
costs you a lot more.
Blames you for all of his problems that he has for the next 6 months, when all it really took was just like some upfront transparency and like just treat people like the money that they're spending is yours.
There's a gray area between like doing ethical business and sales and entrepreneurship, and then like, you know, the cowboys, right? The Wild West.
The Wild West.
And for me, I always ask myself, I'm like, if a client knew everything that I know, would they still do business with me? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So a couple things, because your strength obviously is like assembling a team, building a company. We were talking about recognition, right? And like how you take really good care of your employees. But when it came to like scaling the company, what are some things for leadership that that makes you guys stand out, like that you did different that worked?
To scale, first I would say you have to have trust in the people that you put around you, especially now after the acquisition. There are some individuals on our team, Christian, Whitney, Ashley, that, especially Christian and Whitney as it relates to the end of it, I realized that having their skill sets on the team, like quite literally, we probably wouldn't have made it through the acquisition without their ability to do everything that they did during the acquisition.
Really?
And I'm like, man, I never even asked or told Whitney she should expect to be in this type of role, and she just like stood up and crushed it with what we have. And she's one person that's getting taken care of after all of this. And so like, I would have given you the same answer before the acquisition, and I'm going to give it now with even more like commitment to the answer of like, you have got to be able to hire the right people around you so that you can delegate things to them with confidence. Because a lot of times people will hire people around them, they don't trust in what they can do because they hired the wrong person and they know it, but they're still working there. They then can't delegate things that they need to delegate to them because they're like, oh, they just can't get it done, or it's going to take too much work to tell them what to do, and then they're going to go do it and have questions, and then, you know, so on and so forth. You have to, we were talking about efficiency earlier, right? Like, as an individual, software and tools are your efficiency to be able to get more work done. And as a company, software and tools and people are your ability to get more work done. And so I would say the number one thing is like you have to have a scale. I'd rather have, you know, 10% of a $100 million company because of the team that I have around me than 100% of a $1 million company.
Freaking love it, dude.
You know?
That's it. You got the same thing
You
going on
have
here,
to have
bro.
the team around you.
Absolutely, dude. So now sales-wise, right? Because one thing that I kind of realized about you, probably just within the past month, when you told me about your, you know, the acquisition and everything like that, I was like, dude, this guy's a freaking low-key killer. Like, you don't strike me as like, and I'm sure everybody watching this thinking the same thing. You don't strike me as like a sales guy. You don't have that like, you know, like super aggressive energy. You're more laid back, kind of like me, right?
Yeah.
But you said you do most of the sales, and you guys have these big contracts with like guys like Heath and GLD and things like that, and a lot of like corporate brands too. It seems like like bigger, more established companies. What are some things you did for sales tips, like acquiring clients and things like that?
So it's different for all industries. There, you know, maybe like the car sales route, which is potentially this person could purchase from you again, but right now there's a purchase that needs to happen right now, and it's by nature, I think, a little bit more. There's a lot of people that won't make a decision unless you help them make a decision. I think sometimes it's described as high pressure sales. Other times I really think it's like you actually have to help people understand that they're really here to make a decision and make a decision. With Social Hustle, and with us having no contracts, and with our business model being, I want people to stay here for a very, very long time. That means that I can't convince anyone to do business with us. I can't like use some sort of tactic or trick or, hey, if I go talk to my manager and I come back to you and these are the numbers, are you going to sign? And I'll be like, okay, because if there is any bit of saltiness, if there's any bit of buyer's remorse, then that person is not going to stay for the 4 to 6 years that I need. So I look at sales as more of like, instead of a salesperson, it's more of you're like a doctor, or you are some sort of consultant that has been asked to perform a diagnosis.
Exactly.
So somebody comes to us, rather than me telling them that they need all these things that I think that they need, I'm trying to ask them the questions to make the proper recommendation of what I think that they should have based on the information that they've given me. So a very consultative based, again, like the doctor is the best like visual representation. When somebody comes to you, you're having this conversation for a reason, and 99% of the time it's because of an action that they have made.
Exactly.
Why did you do that? Why are you coming to me today? Why does it hurt? How long has that been hurting? What do you think is causing that? What do you think would fix that? Have you tried other things in the past to fix this? Why haven't they fixed it? Who else is trying to fix this problem with you? And like, if you can bombard them with understanding at the end of the meeting, they're like, holy shit, like, no, this guy knows me better than my wife does now. Then now they feel like whatever you're recommending to them is actually the right thing. Versus if you come in and they're asking all the questions, you're just giving them information, like, you know, or they're asking all the questions, you're just giving them information. At the end, they're like, okay, so this is what he wants to sell me. Let me think about what I actually want. So the biggest tip would I be is regardless of the type of sales, it is very relationship based, because even if you're the car dealer, that guy's going to come back. He's got friends in town. He's got family in town.
Bro.
Do not think that anything is a quick hit and run and you're going to just make a sale and it's going to be the end of it.
Those guys never make it.
You'll never make it.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to realize this relationship base, and that means that person has to come to the decision themselves that they want to do business with you. You
Yep.
can't force them to make the decision, or that will burn you. So really build the relationship and make it more of a doctor-patient type of scenario.
Yeah, I would say if you were to go to a doctor and they were to prescribe you medication without properly assessing the problem, that'd be malpractice.
Yeah, 100%. And no one, and on the flip side of that, nobody goes to the doctor and is like, what about 25% cheaper than this?
Exactly.
Right? When a doctor
100%.
tells you something to do, like, as long as you can afford it, you're doing it.
100%.
And it's because that trust that they have built with you.
Yep, exactly. Last night I was making calls again with my guy who's working for me now, and I kind of caught him off guard because he put me on the phone with this business owner, and I think he was expecting to see me like put a tactic on him and close him, and literally I did the opposite. I didn't even sell him anything. Like, I had a human conversation with him, and I said, let's have a meeting for next week. Like, see, he was bringing me the call because he was like pressing the guy. And he was like, he thought I had
wanted
some
to
kind
see
of
a close in
magical,
action.
Yeah, he thought I had some kind of magical word track, but we find out the guy's got a $20 million a year company and all this. So he watches me build a relationship, book a follow-up meeting. By the end of the call, I had massive rapport and a relationship. And he's like, dude, why didn't you go for the close, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, it's a $20 million company, bro. There's a lot more moving parts than just you need a course.
Yeah, yep.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm doing them a disjustice.
Yeah.
Maybe I could have closed it, but the relationship is the most important piece to me.
And
right?
and a close right then is built on a house of cards.
Exactly.
You know, like, you having the patience, like, with power comes great responsibility, right? Like, I know that anyone that comes to us for marketing, I could probably close my marketing on the phone for half of what we actually charge, and they would leave in like 3 months.
Yeah.
But if I can take the patience to like build that relationship, build the understanding, you know, if that guy built a $20 million company, that he's not about to like just fire off on something random on the side, you know?
Literally. Yeah.
And at the same time, I have a very strong theory that like, if people know what you do and they know you're good at it, then when they need you, they'll let you know.
100%.
And so all you need to do is just continue to provide good character, showcase like trust, and, you know, making the good decisions. And like, it's probably more than when people realize. Like, you're out at the bar with some friends, and you know the bill never came, and or you know, like, the waitress thought you guys paid, and like, you don't go up to the waitress and say, hey, we haven't paid yet.
Yeah.
There's this small part of everything that you do that is building your own brand. And I think people don't realize that like, there could be these ultra minute or finite things that you do that somebody sees and is like, wow, like, there's been things that you have done, Brendan, just like the consistency that you post things and the things that you talk about, and like, you consistently show up, and you're like consistently at work, consistently a good guy, consistently posting about your girl, consistently talking about the same things you want to accomplish. You have your vision, you have your goal, and like, that stuff starts to build and build and build on people to the point where they're like, if I know anyone comes to me and is like, I need some sales training, there's literally one person on earth that I would be like, you need to talk to. And it's because of the consistency of things that you have done in a non-intentional way. You know, it wasn't like every single time you've done everything, you're like, man, how can I sell down for something? Like, you're saying, I'm not transactional. You know, I'm just slowly built. Like, you know what I do? And if you come across somebody that needs it, if I've painted a good enough picture of myself and you feel like I'm worthwhile and worth that referral, you'll send it to me. You know, I don't need to come all the time trying to bang your door down and like being like, hey, you know anyone, you know anyone, you know anyone.
Yeah, consistency is massive. I think one thing that people mix up about branding, because like we'll wrap up with this. Well, the last subject I want to talk to you about, of course, is marketing branding, right? Because I know you might know a little bit about that.
A little bit.
Come on. Branding, I think one misconception people have is they think that like you got to continue to brainstorm new ideas. By the way, this is like a recent paradigm shift I kind of had myself. Is like, they're like, hey, I got to always be making new content, new hooks, new messages, all this stuff, right? But what I'm starting to realize about the best brands is like, they have predictability. They're like very consistent in the message. It's just maybe put in a different format. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So I think social media in today's day and age has made that tough.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, like, the algorithm, you know, kind of values the new, weird, extreme, different things. And so it's made it tough for some brands to continue to create attention grabbing content.
Yeah.
So there's that. Like, I think a lot of where that thought is coming from is because there's, just in today's day and age, there's a lot of fakes. There's a lot of people that are just, trying to do.
There's a lot of noise.
There's just so much noise, and
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like as brands, people can get lost in that. But I think what you need to do is like remember to operate as the brand that you want to be, not as the brand that you are. So let's say I'm building a high-end luxury fashion brand, and I'm like, I want to be like Gucci. I want to do what Gucci does. Then like, even though right now I have $0 in revenue, I gotta act like a Gucci, and I can't go and like spoil my brand by doing something completely off the wall for views. I can't spoil my brand by doing these things that like Gucci wouldn't do. There's the phrase like fake it until you make it, and I think that holds true and still with brands, and it can be very, very difficult when you're trying to get the benefit right now. Yeah. You gotta hold still.
Branding's a long game.
Yep, it's a very, very long game, and the amount it takes to like earn a brownie point in branding versus lose a brownie point in branding is like night and day. Yeah. It takes a lot of work and a lot of good videos and consistency to earn 1 point. But like you act like a douchebag one time, you do something that's kind of low quality and you're trying to be that luxury brand. If you're trying to be like Gucci and I see something that is not Gucci-esque, then you have completely eliminated your chance for me to put you in that upper echelon like a Gucci type of brand.
Isn't it crazy how like branding is so psychological?
It's 100%
it's such a psychological game, and also it's like you said, it's such a long-term game. Like I kind of sat down the other day and I was like, look, dude, there's A and then there's B. And when you don't really define what B is, you're kind of you could be moving further away from A, thinking you're getting closer to B, but you haven't even defined what it is. So you could just be moving further away from A.
Yeah.
See, like for a long time with my brand, I was like focused on views, and that's kind of like all I really focused on, when now I kind of had to sit down and be like, hey, what's my ideal outcome? What am I really looking to do? Define B, that way I can know like I'm making progress. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yep. And that views is tough, to decide those metrics, because there are metrics that are very good indicators of truly where you're going. But at the end of the day, like I'll use Social Hustle for example. Like I'm trying in the next 12 months, I'm trying to bring on 6 to 10 big brands that are looking to grow. They may only be spending $10,000 a month right now, but if you give us 6 to 12 months, you'll be spending $1 million a month. And if truly I'm only looking for like 10 people to do business with me, why do I need 1 million views to my Instagram video? I actually probably only need 40 good conversations in Scottsdale.
That's right.
Like that's probably actually all I need to truly have success. And so like we built Social Hustle to be, we'll do $7 million in revenue this year. We've got 2,300 followers to our Instagram page. Yeah. So there's for some individuals and some brands, I would say stick to your truth of who you are as a brand, even if it costs you in views and the vanity metrics as we call them. Yeah. Because what it'll probably actually do is bring you those like 10 people you can do business with, and you'll be able to retire off it. And,
literally.
And like the rest will take care of itself.
What do you think about when you hear the word brand strategy? What does that mean to you? Do you guys deal with that at all?
Yeah, we do.
You help brands with that?
A lot. We do a lot with brand strategy. It's a overused hype word that people who don't quite understand what the purpose of their of their business, what their vision is. I think, and that's a general statement, but like if you're working on your brand strategy, unless you're $100 million company, the big ones have to continue to reinvent that and really find the place of where they live. But if you're a new company and you're like working on your brand strategy, to me, I would just like walk into the bathroom and look in the mirror and be like, why am I doing this business? Like that's your brand strategy. Get to $25 million and then go hire someone to like focus on your brand strategy. For now, like your brand strategy should be what your core values are as a person. Like why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you trying to help these people that you're helping? Yeah. That for most brands, I would say they way overthink it to start off with, and I think it's a little bit of a fear to get started. Like for the most part, again, I'll use that $25 million number. If you're under 25 million in revenue, maybe 15 million in revenue, you don't even need to be thinking that much about that. Like you should be in business for what you're trying for genuine purposes, to help people out, to take care of your family, and that's your brand strategy. Hey, I'm a plumber here in the valley, and it's because I got 6 kids. I'm trying to put them all through college to go here at ASU. I got a beautiful wife, and I like to donate to the Veterans Center. So like that's your brand strategy right there. To say that, yell that from the rooftops, that'll get you to 10 million. Yeah,
that's a fact, bro. What's the difference between marketing and branding?
Marketing is making sure that what your brand is known, right? So once your branding is who you are as a company, and when people look at your brand and like the feelings that are invoked from that, and the emotions that they evoke for that, marketing is trying to amplify that. Marketing is trying to get more people to experience the brand that is the Elliott Group, or experience the brand that is the social hustle. That is social hustle.
Get in front of more people.
Yep.
I'm telling you, dude, you better listen to this guy. You know, you heard his numbers. You know, so if you're sleeping on this podcast right now, you're missing out on a lot of gems. But we'll wrap it up here, dude. Number one, I appreciate you coming on. Good value, great, amazing story. But to wrap it up, dude, like what are some things you would want to tell everybody? Like what would you say has been the biggest, you know, paradigm shift you've ever had in your life? Like if you could talk to yourself maybe 10 years ago when you started Social Hustle, what would you tell yourself?
So if I could start 10 years ago, I would tell myself that you're doing it right. You have the right thinking. I think it was a blessing for me coming from Idaho, moving to San Francisco, because I knowingly and would verbally admit that I don't know shit. I'm here to learn. I will learn from anyone. I'm trying to get every mentor I can. I'm trying to get every coach I can. I grew up on a farm in Idaho. I don't know anything. I grew up I didn't go to college. Like I know nothing.
Yeah.
And I think today a lot of people are like scared to admit that. I have no idea how hiring coaches became some sort of fucking negative thing.
Yeah.
Like that's the most OG way of doing business. My 65-year-old mother that does real estate would tell you to go get a coach for whatever, you know, like it's
gotten so jaded, man.
It's gotten so jaded.
Have ruined it.
People think they'll watch one video of you, they think they know who you are, you're just like all these other people, and we've lost our ability to be okay with saying like, I don't know how to do this, you know, like I love even being as the founder, being on a call with big companies and somebody uses some acronym that I've never heard of before, and I have no problem being like, what does that mean?
Dude, yes. I love that.
And that's my greatest strength. There's so many people that will just like Google the acronym on the side and then maybe even try and use it later in a sentence to make it seem like they already knew what it was, you know?
Yes.
Like, no, like yell out, I don't know what that is, because as soon as you ask, like, I don't know what that means, that person now trusts you. They're like, okay, this person's not faking anything. So, I mean, literally just like for the one thing I would say is just like, Dalin, like was such a blessing in our lives that you were able to realize from a young age that like you didn't know shit, because I was a sponge for like 10 years. And even saying this now, I need to get back into that of like, don't walk into any room like you know everything. You could be the professor at a college. Yeah. And you can learn something from everything, from all of your students.
That's so true. Bro, I was at the vault. I'll tell you this.
In Orlando, right?
I was in West Palm Beach.
Okay.
I was sitting down, and we're in the CEO session, and this is like a $15,000 event. And Patrick's talking. He's like EBITDA, and I'm like, I've heard that word, but I honestly didn't even know what it meant. And I nudged the guy next to me, and I was like, "Yo, what's EBITDA mean?" And he wrote it down on a piece of paper for me.
Earnings before debt, accrual, interest, and taxes.
The guy next to me was like, "I didn't know what it meant either."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And you could have left that event, like your humility and being like, "What is that?" Actually helped you learn that. Versus they're definitely, statistically speaking, now that you've talked to the guy next to you, there's 50% of the other people there that were like, "What the fuck does that mean?" They still don't know.
Yeah, and that's what keeps people poor, is arrogance.
Yeah, it really is.
Because if you called somebody, think like this is all my friends from my old life that are still poor to this day, haven't even seen what I've done the past couple of years with my life. I call them and or they call me and ask me for advice, and I'm like, hey, you need to do this. They're like, I know, I tried that, but we call them yabbits.
I've done that, but I can't do that because of this reason. Because you came to me, it's like back to the doctor example. You wouldn't say that to the doctor. If a doctor came and told you like you gotta put a bandage on that leg because you are bleeding out, you'd be like, like I've had cuts before and I didn't cover it with a bandage, and so I'll be fine. It's like you literally have to, like, throughout life, look at everyone around you as like they potentially are like an expert giving you some advice on something, and if your first reaction, you say the buts. I love that, because it's just it's like just ingrained in some people to just answer that way, and like you gotta get rid of it.
It's arrogance, and then it's just the victim mentality.
Sometimes it's also just fear. I think a lot of people are scared to be wrong. You know, sometimes I will say it's not arrogance as much as just the unknown. You know, fear of the unknown. I want change, but not so much that I want to change. You know, like I want a different
Yeah.
life, but not so much that I want to actually like make myself a different life.
Yep.
So sometimes I think it's less arrogance and pride as much as literally just straight fear.
Yep. Every decision that I've been making in business has been this. It's because there's certain times where you feel resistance. Fear was designed to like protect you from getting
I've
getting
given
killed.
Yep.
Right? Like if you're in an African desert and you see a lion, fear tells you to run, which is good. You know, that's going to save your life. But people call fear like they use it as a way to stop themselves from going after a better life.
Yeah.
So like they get an opportunity to come to an event, join a program, partner with somebody in business, move out of their hometown, and they feel this resistance.
It's uncomfortableness. You know? Like we just earlier, you or I said something about it, but like it literally is. Back in the day, it was to keep you alive. Luckily now we got electricity, we got
literally
heated, weighted blankets.
Yeah.
We're good. There's water coming out of everybody's fridge. You're not gonna die by making any of these risky choices.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you might actually end up living if you make some of these choices. You know, and like getting that uncomfortableness. I tell all the people all the time, if it's a decision that in your gut you feel is right, and the only thing holding you back is just that like, then like that is the one.
Dude, that's literally the same thing I say. I say, dude, if you know it's the right decision,
but it's scary,
but you feel just a little bit of resistance,
it's definitely the right decision.
Then you better go do it. You better do it. I mean, you know, and I'm sure you can relate because like I feel like you're probably moving into a new chapter in your life. You know, it's like no matter what stage of life you're in, there's some areas of life you're going to feel some resistance.
Yeah.
You know, and you got to have hard conversations, put yourself under pressure, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Just got to freaking take action, you know?
I agree.
Well, dude, thanks for coming on, brother.
Of course. Thanks
Killer
for having
episode.
me.
You want to tell people like where to find you at, where to follow you, how to
hit
you up?
I live in Scottsdale. You can find me there if you want to find me in
Yeah.
person. I'm normally just cruising around on the golf cart in Scottsdale Quarter, just hanging
yeah.
out. But I'm hella casual on Instagram.
Hell
I love chatting business with anyone. Like literally, it's just a passion of mine. And so any businesses at any level, I'll chop it up with you, give you some insight. I feel blessed to be able to help other business owners and other entrepreneurs.
Sweet. Let's go. We'll hit them up. Hella casual. That should be easy enough to find. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the podcast, comment below your biggest takeaway, share it with a friend. Let's keep kicking ass. Let's go, baby.